Okay, so three, two, one, go. Hello, viewers, and welcome back once again to another reaction. And today we are going to take a look at a new game theory episode that just came out. So, if you recall, last week I played through a little indie game called Bendy and the Ink Machine, and I managed to get all 5 chapters fit just before Halloween. So I played it Halloween this year, and the ending to it, if you want to watch it, I'll probably put an information or a link to it if you want to see it and get my opinions on it. So yeah, for those who just joined in chapter 5, the ending was kind of debatable if it was a good ending or a bad ending, because yeah, apparently the head of the studio of Joey Drew Studios, I thought Joey Drew screwed us over and started into an endless time loop. So, and some people have debating opinions about it. So, hopefully with game theory, hopefully could clarify some of the questions that were raised at the end of that game. So, on that chapter. So, let's all watch it and react and take it away, Matt, and help us clarify.
Chalk up another victory on the game theory win sheet. With the release of Bendy's last chapter, all my theories were put to the test, and it looks like we were overall pretty darn right. At least for the things the Meatly wasn't purposely misdirecting us on. Allison and Thomas were indeed revealed to be perfect Alice and Cyboris. Human souls are indeed used to power the ink machine. And most importantly of all, we totally called that Joey Drew would be revealed to be the true identity of Monster Bendy. Wait, you're saying he wasn't? That he's just this old dude in his kitchen and Bendy is this mindless ink monster? Give me a few minutes. It'll all make sense soon, because this is the end of Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Oh god, no. That is goddamn creepy. This is worse than the FNAF intro.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where you don't need a special lens to see our messages. More often than not, they're hidden in plain sight right in front of your face. So, 5 chapters, 3 theories, and 1 year, 8 months, and 16 days later, it's finally over. The saga of our little devil darling Bendy reached its sepia-tinted conclusion, and, well, it was controversial, to say the least. Slow stealth sections, Bendy going on full beast mode, and no appearance of the plunger were just some of the complaints that I saw circulating online. But it was the ending that left most people in the inky dark. After fighting off Roid Rage Bendy, suddenly we're taken to a kitchen with Joey Drew washing some dishes before sending us back to the studio with the same exact words that kicked this whole thing off in the first place.
Come visit the workshop. There's something I need to show you.
Yeah, this was a very clip.
All right, Joey. I'm here. Let's see if we can find what you wanted me to see.
Are you kidding me? Every time this game launches a new chapter, I need to play through the whole thing again since it's so unstable I lose my save data. I'm telling you, if I haven't found what you wanted me to see the other 5 times that I've gone through these chapters, this ain't it, Chief. Also, did it bother anyone else to hear Joey say, I need to show you?
There's something I need to show you.
But then the closed captions say, want to show you? You're rifling my OCD here, game. Anyway,
hopefully,
I don't think it's an understatement to say that this was far from the ending the series had been.
Hopefully the Meatly will update that, hopefully. I have no idea if he is, but who knows with him.
Leading us towards, understandably causing frustration to gamers who'd spent the better part of the last 2 years theorizing about this game's mysteries. So today we're gonna dive down to the inky depths and add some color to a finale that most people found a bit sketchy. Let's begin.
You just had to make
first,
that.
It's important to establish that the events in the game never really happened. At least, not literally, like we played through them. Yep, it's one of those, where everything is symbolic, like a dream theory, coma theory, or in this case, a story theory. You see, the game tries to leave it open to interpretation, revealing in the endgame letter that repairman Thomas Connor is a bit miffed that someone stole his invention, the ink machine, only to show us a few seconds later after the credits that it's in Joey Drew's house. So could it all have been
that.
real? Yeah, it could've, but it's not very likely. That's why the entrance to Joey Drew Studios is attached to the kitchen, and why there's this dramatic visual shift when we're entering the real world. The game designers are trying to tell us through aesthetics that the studio isn't reality. This hallway with the 6 posters is very reminiscent of the opening hallway.
Yeah, it is.
And this
really
room
interesting.
is very reminiscent of Chapter 1.
It is.
So this is my desk. Wait, oh.
I wasted so much time in this chair.
Yeah, that was
Even clearer is
weird.
the fact that in the gameplay, Allison Pendle is transformed into the perfect Alice Angel,
Yep.
Thomas Connor is Cyborg.
Yep.
But in real life, two are married and living happily together.
Oh,
with
that's
their time
nice.
at Joey Drew Studios, a faint memory in the distant past. There is
Oh,
very
so she
obviously
couldn't
a set of
be
real
at
world events
the
and a
studio
separate
at the
studio
time.
world. But making this distinction perfectly clear to us is this final post-credits moment. A little girl asking for yet another story from Uncle Joey.
Tell me another one, Uncle Joey.
It doesn't get any more direct than that. Another story, i.e. we were just told a story by Uncle Joey. So the 5 chapters of Bendy are just that, a 5-part story. But just because this was a story all along doesn't mean that it's not rooted in fact. Quite the contrary, it's Joey's version of the rise and fall of his studio. The small details in his story are inspired by things in the world around him. For instance, the little miracle safe stations throughout the game were actually just inspired by this TV and radio repair company that we see a flyer for posted on his
I didn't
bulletin
notice
board.
that.
And if you look really closely in the background during this post-ending bonus scene, on the back shelf there, you'll see a bunch of items that should look
Oh, yeah,
very familiar.
I already
A
know
record,
about that.
A plushie, a wrench, ink, a book, and a gear. All the items
Very
that we had to
specific.
collect in Chapter 1 of the game to activate the ink machine, except now their visual style is more realistic. Real items that he's translated into the fictional animated story world that he's created. As for the bigger plot points in the game, well, that's just Joey's life. Joey clearly created a studio with the help of Henry, who, as we guessed, was indeed the creator of Bendy. Once Henry left the business to spend time with his wife, the studio eventually died. In part due to changing entertainment trends, people simply growing
Hold on,
out of
hold
the
on.
old
That was
si-
something I missed there. There was some minor bit of writing.
Once Henry left the business,
Sorry, just gonna be crazy.
was indeed the creator of Bendy. Once Henry left the business,
Once an equal business partner to Joey Drew, Henry Stein was a talented animator and character designer until leaving the company around 1930. Hold on. Maybe
business
we
to
get a
spend
better
time
one.
with his wife, the
With character design leaving the company around 1930. His place in Joey Drew Studios' history is somewhat undocumented, but he is often rumored to be the true creator behind many of the studio's most memorable characters. Wow, that
studio eventually
That must
died. In
sucked.
part due to changing entertainment trends, people
Yep.
simply growing out of the old silent black and white
Yep.
cartoons,
to color.
When the tickets stopped selling, when the next big thing came along, only the monsters remained.
but
Yep.
also because of a series of bad business decisions by Joey, most notably Bendyland. We
Oh,
know this
yeah.
from all the overdue bills on Joey Drew's bulletin board, as well as blueprints
Bertram
of the failed theme park.
Paramount.
It's possible that Joey tried to keep up, evolve the Bendy character, revive him for an older
Possible.
audience, as we see darker, more mature, more gun-happy
yeah.
versions of the characters on the animating
Oh,
table in his
wow.
house, but clearly nothing has worked, leaving Joey a poor, broken old man. Which leads us to Monster Bendy. Why did I say that Monster Bendy is revealed to be Joey Drew? Well, it's because Bendy in the studio is a symbol of his regrets. Listen to his final dialogue in the kitchen.
I thought I knew who I was, but the success starved me. In the end, we followed 2 different roads of our own making. You, a lovely family. Me, a crooked empire. And my road burned. I let our creations become my life. The truth is, you were always so good at pushing, old friend. Pushing me to do the right thing. You should have pushed a little harder.
It's all a series of regrets. Regret that he didn't start a family, that he let himself become consumed by work and greed, that he
Yeah.
lost a friend in Henry. Look at the letters on his bulletin board. Joey is reaching out to employees of the studio decades after they worked together. They've moved on with their lives. They've found love, other jobs, families, but Joey hasn't. He's trapped by the ghosts of his past, all wrapped up in and represented by Bendy. No longer just a cute cartoonish devil, but now a twisted, shambling monster who roams the remains of his failed studio. The sharp-toothed embodiment of his own regrets. That's why Bendy sometimes helps you out throughout the game. Henry and Joey have this complicated relationship. That's also why you have to show Bendy the end to finish him off. To show him, and by proxy Joey, that era of his life is over. It's all a shadow of the past.
Only the monsters remain. Shadows of the past.
In a lot of ways, Joey
Makes
Drew
sense now.
rightfully sees himself as the villain of his own story, all represented by Monster Bendy.
Yep.
It's incredibly sad. But then, what about Henry re-entering the studio?
Yeah.
The mysterious writing on the walls? What does Joey want to show us? Well, from a literal standpoint, the writing that was on the walls was done by Henry. If you replay the game, you're given the ability to use a lens of truth in all the previous chapters. Each time the cycle repeats, you see on the walls that Henry makes a tally, and that he's able to call out certain events that happen every time he goes through the loop, where he's attacked by Sammy with the word ouch, where jump scares happen with the word peekaboo, etc. But confirming that it's Henry writing these messages are two in particular. His dream, My Effort, which reflects Henry's frustrations of working with and ultimately carrying the business of Joey Drew, as well as this one right next to a Joey Drew audio log, That's the Joey I Know. It's admittedly kinda odd that Henry compliments his own drawings here in the prison cell, and he might just want to check his grammar on this little bit of graffiti. Dream too big and you'll fail. More like grammar fail, am I right? Up top. Okay, don't have to high-five me, it's okay. But it's definitely Henry leaving these messages. It's also why we have flashes of hallucinations throughout the previous chapters. There are events from past iterations of the loop peeking through. But then, why is everything a cycle? What does Joey want Henry to see? Well, it's a story Joey has told himself, and probably those around him dozens of times. He's relived these moments, this twisted history of his failed business countless times. That's the thing about regret. It doesn't go away. It exists in a constant loop of what-ifs and alternate choices. Except, as Henry himself points out, reliving the past does not change it. Joey being a prisoner of his own history is just a spiral of sadness, and no amount of reliving these events is gonna change them. That's why everything in these loops is so predictable. Every single cycle. Like Henry writes, there never was any choice. Making it worse is that, as Joey gets older, those he once worked with start passing away. Going through the game again, we see on the coffins the names of some of the key side characters. Susie Campbell, Grant Cohen, Bertram Piedmont, Lacey Benton, all dead and in their coffins. Sure, in the events of the cartoon studio, they may have been sacrificed to the ink machine, but I suspect what's really going on is that in real life, they're actually dead, passed away from old age or the like, which just makes Joey's situation worse. His past is crumbling away. The only people he ever had any connection with are fading away with time. Joey's alone, and he's dying alone. The only choice available for Joey is to end it, to put a close on Bendy and move on with his life. And it looks like that's finally what he's trying to do, sending out letters to his former employees to reconnect with them, to make sure that they no longer see him as the villain. Worse, his past is crumbling away. The only people he ever had any connection with are fading away with time. Joey's alone, and he's dying alone. The only choice available for Joey is to end it, to put a...
There's nothing wrong with dreaming. Wishing for the impossible is just human nature. That's how I got started. Well, a pencil and a dream. We all want everything without even having to lift a finger. They say you just have to believe.
Close on Bendy and move on with his life. And it looks like that's finally what he's trying to do, sending out letters to his former employees to reconnect with them, to make sure that they no longer see him as the villain, that they weren't victims of the ink. Not literally like we see in the studio, but figuratively, as he fears his work destroyed and corrupted everyone around him. And they appear to be fine. They've forgiven him, which just leaves one. Henry, his oldest and most important friend, his co-founder, the one who represents everything that Joey's life could have and would have been, the perfect Bendy to Joey's twisted monster of regrets. When he invites Henry to the studio one last time, it's him bearing his soul to us, the ugliness, the regret. It's Joey asking Henry for forgiveness, yes, but it's also Joey asking Henry for permission to forgive himself. And if that post-credit scene is any indication, the permission is given. The cycle is broken. Henry forgives Joey and brings over his daughter to hear some stories from the old studio. Joey has a family at last.
Tell me another one, Uncle Joey.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. The end. But hey, after an episode all about getting stuck in your regrets, the sponsor for today's episode wants to make sure that you guys don't have any regrets when it comes to buying stuff online.
Okay, we know where this is going. So yeah, so the ending wasn't a dick move. It was actually just like that Joey just wants to show Henry a film about all of his pain and regret. I was just about to say about what happened to Susie Campbell that became horrible Alice Angel. Did she die by his hands, or was this is just Joey's way of writing, I guess. So I didn't think about the storyboard trying to show Bendy a more of a darker tone. That's planned to be expected, I suppose, but still, this is still a pretty sad story to hear. After when replaying it again, it kind of makes a lot more sense when you think about it with all that dialogue. Wow, I didn't think about it that way. I thought it was kind of a dick move, so yeah, I screwed up there. So hey, what do you think? Is this theory fact, or is the Meatly going to say no? And I guess it's up to Meatly to say that, I guess. So I hope you all enjoyed this theory, and I hope you all have a good day, and I will see you on the next stream or another reaction. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you next time. So until then, this is Josh24214 saying, have a good day, everybody. Bye.